I can't get over that intro. How good is that? Anyway, here's the little ring spinner we're going to draw up in Onshape and print it out. Look at it go. Beautiful thing. Perfect tool for when you're locked in your room in isolation. And feel free to pause it on those beautiful hands too. How perfect are they? Moisturized, just beautiful. Look at those fingernails. How good are they? Anyway, on with Onshape. Okay, on we go. We are going to open up Onshape. So open up my browser, Onshape, and I'm going to try to not waffle on too much. Okay, so we'll get into more detail the further along we go. Sign in. Takes a little while. Don't forget Onshape is all working on the server. Okay, so there's not a great deal happening on your Chromebook, and I'm on a student Chromebook. Okay, here we go. It's like Google Drive. I've got a bunch of files that I've made or people have shared with me, so it's all built around collaboration. Okay, making things together, which is how big projects go together these days. I've got a few things from students. I'll hide names. I'm going to create a new document. Give it a name. We're working on the Ring Spinner 2020. Hit enter. Takes a little while to create the folder, so I won't go too much over the interface. What I will do though is make it full screen so we can see as much as we can. First of all, it's very similar to every other CAD package out there, even SketchUp that we've been using. If I hold down the right button, I orbit. If I roll the wheel, I zoom. If I hold the wheel, the scroll button, the middle button, I can pan. So I'm holding it down, rolling it, right button, left button is just to select. Okay, over here this little dice cube, I can use the arrows and rotate around, pick a face, whatever I want to do. And over here I've got some predefined views. Now if these are called the planes, there are 3 of them to start with. You can make lots more and you use them to lay out your drawing in 3D. If they're not there, which would be strange if for the first time you've used it, but if you've been playing around in it and they've disappeared, the shortcut is P to hide and show the planes. They're not in the final drawing. When we go to 3D printer, they're just there as a reference to help you get it where you want it to go. Okay, let's start with the ring spinner. It's laid out very much as you would use it. Okay, they try to make these things very user friendly. So we always start with the sketch. I'm going to start with a sketch, and it'll say what do we want to use as our sketch plane. Which of these surfaces do we want to draw on? Okay, well I want to draw on the top. You can see there I can't quite see it. I can move because you're always moving around, and then I could pick it, or I could probably even pick it over here, but I'll pick top there. It's called sketch 1. Sketch 1, I could rename it. If there were lots of it was a very complex drawing and I had lots of different sketches, that's where I'd probably want to rename everything so I knew exactly what I was working on. Now a lot of students over the years get straight off that, and then where's it gone? I can see it there but I can't see it there. Well, watch what happens. If I double click on it, I'm back into that sketch. All the icons across here have changed. They're sketch mode icons. They're drawing things and lines and circles and rectangles. And then if I get out of sketch mode, I've got a bunch of different tools. Okay, so make sure you're in the sketch mode. I don't want to draw like that though, so I'm going to right click and view normal to sketch plane. I could also use this up here and click on top and things like that. And I'm still in sketch. I'm going to start drawing. The ring spinner is the circle, the bearing. Okay, first of all we're going to start from the inside, work our way out. So the bearing we're going to use is a standard scooter bearing, 22 mil outside diameter. 8 mil inside diameter, and they're 7 mil thick. So let's start with the circle. There's a couple of different circles we could use, but I'm just going to use a standard circle. Now, when I hover over here, it gives me the name of the tool and the shortcut, and if I leave it there, it'll give me how to use it. So it's active now. If I press C, turns it off. C turns it on, and I can also click on the icon. So it's on at the moment. I'm going to click on the origin and draw it. Now, I know something I need to tell you, so I'll just draw it anyway. I won't try to get to 22 mil because I'm going to dimension it later, so I'll just get really big like that. Now, it came up with 79. I'm going to type it in, but I forgot to tell you something. If we haven't used Onshape before, I'm just going to go over here. Where the name is that you made, you need to change your account. The default settings for the measurements on this are American, and they're in feet and inches. So I want you to come along here. Happy for you to look at any of this. This is where you could change your name if you made one of those terrible names that you're embarrassed by, like Justin Bieber or Barnaby Joyce or something like that. It sounds terrible. Anyway, go to your preferences, change your unit length to millimeters, and save it. Feel free to have a look at everything else in here. Mass units, angles, radians if you go on to do engineering. There's a lot to this software. It's very powerful software. Okay, but all I want you to change is I want to make sure you're in millimeters and save. Now I'm going to go back to document. That will mean for a lot of you that started your drawing, it started in inches. So you could type in millimeters, every time you type a dimension, or the easiest way would be just to go back to Onshape, into your folder, and create a new drawing. If you've done it correctly, every drawing you make from now on will be in millimeters. Okay? I'd rather you do that than type in So it knows now that I've told it the default is millimeters, that every time I type in a number in, it's going to be millimeters. I want to get back to my sketch. I know that, right click, view normal. I know that it was bigger than what I wanted it to be. So I have to change the dimensions, and this is more like normal, well, the majority CAD packages are like this. If we've been using SketchUp, it's a little different, okay? So I'm going to click on dimension. The shortcut is D. I could have pressed D. I could go from the inside out and get a radius, or just go on the outside, click once, drag it out, and change it. 22 millimeters. Done. Now over here, I'll have the, if you remember what it looked like, it'll have like a plastic around the outside, about 3 millimeters away, and then it's got a little nub for your finger. We could draw another circle like this, and we could make it whatever that is, +3 +3. There's your algebra. However, if for some reason the bearing changed size, it's harder to adjust. What we want to do is work like a designer, think like a designer, think like someone who uses this software to come up with new ideas. So we're going to use a standard tool called the offset tool. I know that the shortcut will be O because that makes sense. There's a bunch of options down here. I don't usually look at them. Slot, offset. We're just going to use the standard offset, and I'm going to click on what I want to offset, and it's going to do a line. The default's 5 mil. I'm going to click on the 5 and change it to 3. If I change it to a minus number, or I could have changed the arrow, I'll do another one in a minute, it would have brought it on the inside. Okay, so I've got a 3 mil diameter offset. That means if the bearing that came in next week, or I order bearings and I can't get 22 mil, maybe I have to get 19, and I change it, it'll change everything perfectly. If that had been another circle, it would have meant the plastic was thicker. What this will mean is, I haven't printed these out on our new printers yet. If there's a slight discrepancy in what we draw and what comes out, if I get them out of the printer and they're a tight fit, maybe we could increase the diameter by 0.2 of a millimeter. Anyway, I want to do another offset off the offset, and I want to make that 3 as well. So double click on the 5, make that 3. Remember, because this is videoed, because I'm recording this, you can go back and watch a step again. You could slow it down, you could speed it up, you could skip a bit, So that's the idea of flipped learning, okay? You can watch this whenever you feel like you can. Some people may watch it 10 times, some people may watch it once, some people may fast forward through it, watch it really quick and get it. But if it's recorded, you can go back. You don't have to ask a question. Well, I guess you could email me. Now I want to do a line up here, and then I'm going to do the little piece at the top there. So I'm going to do a special kind of line. I'm going to pick line, and then I'm going to change it with this one. I think the shortcut is Q, construction line. And that's like drawing a light line before you draw your final drawing. So I'm going to go to the origin. See how the icon changes? If I'm up here, it's on the line. If I'm down here, it's where it intersects, okay? I'm going to hold down the left button, bring it up here, just like that, just above the circle. And the line looks different. It's a construction line. I could even... No, let's have a look if I can change it. So with that picked, I could change it to a normal line. So if you accidentally draw a normal line, like that, I want you to change it to construction line. I can change any of these to construction line. You can see when I hover over them, it actually shows me the icon up here, the offset icon. It shows me it's an offset. So I know when I'm doing my design. And you can see that's been offsetted. And it's got 2 lines related to it that are offsetted. Okay. I want to do the little nubbly bits for your fingers. Okay, so I'm going to drag from the origin out here with a normal line. About there. And let go. Now I want to give that a size, okay? So I'm going to go back to my dimensions, and this time it's going to give me an angle. I'm going to click once there. That's giving me the length, but if I click on here, it knows it's got to change to an angle. Okay, that's a very precise angle. I'm going to make it 7 degrees. Now I want to have another line here which is exactly the same. Once again, like I could have done with the circle, I could draw a line and dimension it and change it, and then I'd have to change this one, I'd have to change that one. So I want to use a special feature called mirror. Sometimes it's called symmetry. And it'll tell me, have a look, when I click on it, it says select a mirror line. What do I want to mirror about? Mirror about this construction line I did. What do I want to mirror? That one. So now when I change, if I go back to dimensions, which is D, okay, D, double click on here. If I change that to say 14, they both change, okay? So I can come up with some really interesting patterns and designs doing this, okay? And faster than a good normal. Now I don't really need to do anything, but just to show you, I can trim these lines too. So I'll get the scissor tool. SketchUp had a little eraser. This has a little scissor, and it'll trim between where things intersect. See that? Might get rid of these lines. I could even get rid of these, but that might cause me problems if I need to change something. I'll leave them. I don't really need to delete them. And I'm happy with that sketch. Oh, you know what I will delete? I'll delete this one. Okay. Looks like a diamond ring. Don't forget, it's just a 2-dimensional flat sketch. I'm going to tick. And my sketch is there. All my tools have changed again. They're in roughly the sort of, they look at how people use this software and what people need to do, and they're kind of more useful and they get a little more specific as we go along. There's some math sort of stuff here, sheet metal there. So they've tried to lay it out in a sensible way. Okay, they want you to be able to use it because they make a lot of money from this. It's their business. Okay, so sketch done, ready to go. I'm going to add an extrusion, a feature. Okay, it tells me a bit more about how I do it. It's pretty simple. What do I want to extrude? Okay, so I'm squeezing toothpaste out, so the just a continual hole. I won't change anything to start with. I won't worry about any of this, and I'll click on it. It's got like a ring like that, like a curtain rod or something like that. The default is 25mm. Okay, but we know our bearing is 7mm. So I'm going to make it 7. Okay, and I'm going to do a couple of little things now. I want this part of the sketch as well, so I click on it. So fully around. I want to change this blind to symmetric. So what it does is it projects out from both sides of the sketch. That'll be useful for me. Okay, and I'm going to tick that. Now I might give this a name. I might give this a name because I'm going to have 2 extrudes just to show you, and this will be called bearing ring. Tick. Okay. Do not fear your sketch has disappeared. What it's done is it's hidden it. It wants to make it clean and easy for us to understand what's going on. So it's hidden the sketch. Like that. I might look top down, hey? Okay, there we go. I'm going to, just for you, I'm going to click on the little eye and show the sketch again. I want this bit now. And I'll do another extrude. What do I want to extrude? This time I'm going to change a few things. Oh no, I'm just going to extrude this one. I'll do it the same. So change it to 7mm. And I might do it symmetric. So there we go, it's around there. Looking more and more like a diamond ring all the time. Now over here I can move these, and we might do that in a little bit. I can drag them up and down the order they're going, so that every time the computer sort of does this, it's doing it in this order as it comes down here. That could come in handy. But as you remember from mine had 10 of these around the outside. If I was to go back to the sketch and make the 10 here and then adjust them all, I mean, I could. Might be, it's not a bad way to do it. But I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do what's called a pattern, an array, and the icon looks like 4 little blocks, like some Minecrafty thing. But that's a linear one, that's a line, it's a straight line if I wanted to make a pattern like that. But I want to make a circular pattern, I want to go around a circle. So I'm going to press a little arrow next to it and go circular pattern. And this is where I need to change a few things. I might go change it from part, because the whole thing is a part. You can see down there it says part, and change it to feature. Now when it's on a feature, I want to pick the feature. I'll pick it along here. I didn't give it a name, but I know that it's not the bearing ring, it's the extrude one. And then it comes here to axis. What axis do I want? I'm going to click the little mate connector and see if I can zoom in here so I get right on that dead center. Now it's red. Red's never good. Let's have a look what we need to do. It is probably this apply per instance, and we'll talk about that as we go there. That's better. So the default is 4. Let's change that. My one that I'm making is 10. But you are the designer. So perhaps we want to go 14 today. That looks pretty cool. 14. Okay, you play around with that number, find something you're happy with. Obviously, the more you make, eventually it's going to just join up as one big ring. That doesn't seem as much fun. Okay, happy with that. Now I've got one more little thing before I chuck it on the 3D printer, and that's to put a little sort of, I'll zoom in and show you top. Put a little sort of dip in there for my finger, okay? So I'm going to draw another sketch, but not on one of those 3 planes. I'm going to draw it on a face, okay? I could probably draw it on any of these faces and do what I want to do, but then if I make some changes, things might get a bit odd. Sketch. This is where I'm going to work on this face here. Zoom in. That'll be a perfect one to name. And I'm going to use my line tool. Now see when I go around with the line tool how it locks into midpoints, and I come down here, it'll lock into intersections. Midpoint there, see that? Intersection there. So I'm going to go off the intersection, bring it down, but I don't want to bring it to that midpoint. Okay, I don't want to lock it in, I want to come up with my own. It's about there, that intersection, about there, but make sure it's joining the other one. Okay, something like that. And I'm going to, I might dimension it. I'd like to know exactly what I have there. I'm going to go from this point to that point and bring it out there. And it's 1.11. That's a terrible number. I hate those numbers. 85. 0.85. Like that. Not too much. And tick. Now that's just the sketch. I need to add a feature to it. There's a couple of ways I could do it. I could probably rotate it around the circle and cut away instead of adding. But I might, because it'll give me more options, I might do a sweep. And this time I'm not going to add or new, I'm going to go remove material. What do I want to do? I want this sketch here. Where do I want it to go? I want it to go around this. Well, actually, you know what? The reason, if I did a rotate, I'd need to do it around that intersection. If I do a sweep, I can just say, you know, one of these circles. So, sweep path. There we go. There we go. Done. Sometimes merge with all helps if it doesn't work. There we go. There's my ring spinner. Ready to stick on the 3D printer. Now, the default on Onshape, when I start a new drawing, it gives me a part, it gives me an assembly. There's only one piece in this job, so we won't talk about assembly yet. But if I right click on that part tab, I have an export button. Export, Part Studio, I might call it Ring Spinner. It's giving it the name that it is down there, which I could also rename. STL will be good for this. I don't bother changing any of that. Millimeters is fine. Medium resolution I think will be fine for us. Download the file and store in a new tab. I'll just go straight to download, I think. And if it was multiple parts, because I'm going to a 3D printer, it would be better to get unique parts, individual files. So if I made an assembly, something with lots of little pieces joined together, I'm better to export it as individual files. That happens a lot. Students download and I get this one big file that is really hard to print. Okay. Now it should automatically download. Because I'm on your Chromebook, I'll go through the process. Download manager, show in folder, you'll see all my junk, I should imagine. Ring spinner. There it is. Okay, I printed out the ring spinner that we drew up, and the design is fine. The printer came out very well, but the bearing is tight. So I'm going to add a little bit to it. Now I'm not going to turn the Chromebook on again because I think it's gone flat. And I've got my desktop PC all hooked up, so I'm going to do it here on Windows. So I log in, same details, I'm in the cloud. Here's the ring spinner. Go into it. A couple of little things from the video I just made. First is, I think I'd like to rename it. So I right click on that part 1, rename, and I'll call it ring spinner. Okay. I need to make a couple of changes. Well, one really. Go back to my original sketch. Zoom in. This is the problem, okay? This dimension. Now the printer may have just, you know, some printers print a little tighter, some print a little looser, but I'll change it. I'll modify it here. 22.5, because I've done it all correctly with offsets and circular arrays and patterns and everything. Everything should just adjust automatically because it all was built around that original circle. Tick. There we go. Everything looks fine. Right click on there, export. Now because I'm not on a Chromebook, same as what I set up on my Chromebook. Okay, because I'm not on a Chromebook, the file will download to my computer. There it is. It's all zipped up, ready to go. Show in folder. Open that zip folder. There's my STL, stereolithic file, 3D file. I'm going to drag that into my documents. There it is. It's unzipped in there. I'm going to drag that now. Actually, I'll need to open Flashforge or Flash Print. So I'll be expecting you guys, if you have a PC, to do this. If you don't, or if you can't install Flash Print, you're going to send me the STL. I'm going to drop it in there, adjust it. Okay. I like the print. I think I'll leave it as normal. I'm going to go print, standard. It wants a part name, ring spinner part 1, that's fine. Just turn the printer on, ready to go. It says it's going to estimate take 15 minutes. I'm going to send G-code. That's the printer I've got. And we'll let it heat up and start printing it. And I'll set up to record the print and put it at the end of this video. Okay, final results. First one, too tight. That's 22 mil. No good. Look at those beautiful hands. Second print, 22.5. Too loose. No good. And finally, oh, hear that? 22.2. Oh, it spins. Very nice. Look at that technique. Beautiful hands. And that's it. Finish it up. Send me the file. Share it with me Onshape. And I'll print it out. Do you know how long this whole thing took? forever. Oh, any kids out there making videos? Good stuff.